Hi guys, so today we're just continuing on with graphing a system of inequalities. So for the first function, notice that it is a parabola because it is x squared. If it's negative, that means the parabola is facing downwards, but the vertex is still at the origin. And remember to review the transformation of graphs video I put in the beginning of this module, because the +2 will tell us that it starts at 2 on the y-axis. So oppo, samo, remember, make sure you go over that so you can graph things a little easier instead of, having to make an XY table for every function. Since this has an equal sign underneath the less than, that means it'll be a solid line. Again, the parabola faces downwards because of the negative amplitude for x squared. And since its y is less than, that means we shade everything below. And keep in mind, these are just sketches, so it's not going to be totally exact right now. Now, from here, remember that x squared is still a parabola. Just because there's a -3, we're using that oppo part, which means that we start to the right 3. And since it doesn't have an equal sign underneath the inequality, it's going to be with a dotted line that we graph it. And we're going to shade everything less than, meaning below the parabola. So wherever there is double shaded, that's where our solution is. So you can pick a point anywhere here where there was double shading. I'm going to pick 0, -1. And to check if my answer does work, I'm going to replace each variable with its respective x and y. So -1 is less than -0 squared plus 2. 0 squared, there's no such thing as -0, it's a neutral number. 0 squared plus 2 gives me 2. And -1 is less than 2, so it works for the first one. If I replace the y with -1 for the second inequality, and I have 0 minus 3, well, 0 minus 3 is -3. And -3 squared, remember when you square negative, it's going to be positive. -1 is less than 9, so this answer works. And then moving on to our final graph, I typed out the words, but just so you can kind of see it mathematically, y is less or greater than square root of x. And for the second inequality, it would be y is less than or equal to the cube root of x, and then -1. So the square root of x is actually a parent graph. If you look, the square root of x is right there. That's what it looks like. So it starts at 0, 0. And if you want to get more exact, you can plug in the x values. I would just say be strategic about it, meaning find perfect square roots. For instance, if x was 4, the square root of 4 is 2. So y would be 2. 9, if x was 9, the square root of 9 would be 3 for y. So the graph looks like this, which should be with dotted lines because of the fact that there is no equal sign underneath the inequality. So I'm going to make that a little more just dotted. And then it says y is y is greater than the square root of x. So I'm going to shade everywhere where it's greater than. And now if I look, the cube root of x, it looks kind of like a snake. There's a point at, in case you can't see it, there's a point at 0, 0, 1, 1, -1, -1. So the fact that there's a -1 means that those three parent function points would just go down 1. So instead of 0, 0, it would start at 0, -1. Instead of 1, 1, it would start here at 0, 1. Instead of -1, -1, it would start at -1, -2. And since it has an equal sign underneath the inequality, it's going to be a solid line. And I am shading everything below it. So notice there is no shared shading here. So what happens when there is no shared shading? Well, that means they don't share any xy points. So this would be no solution. All right, guys, I hope this helps.